right, welcome, welcome. Good to see you, Bill, Wendy, Connie, Becca, and Byron. And there's Stephen.
I'm right here.
Yes.
Hey, Kevin. Lovely to see
Hey,
you. Lovely
Stephen.
to see everybody.
Welcome. Let's see. People are moving around the screen here. Monica, welcome. Christine, welcome. Good to have you join us. Ethan, welcome. Helena, welcome. Susan, welcome. Zoom user, which I think is Carolyn, welcome. Good to have you all tonight. So we'll give people just another minute to join in. Hi, Susan. Good to see you. There's Helena. Yeah, so we'll give people another minute to join in. As we do, make sure that you have comfortable seat for meditation, and you might want to have something to make notes on. These meditations tend to be deep and thought-provoking or inspiring, healing, hopefully all of the above. Tonight, we are continuing our movement through the book Attuned by Thomas Hübl. And as always, I want to thank Humanities team for hosting us here every Thursday night, and Garth for handling all the controls, doing the recording, letting everyone in, and hosting all the tech end of things. So, as usual, I'm going to begin by reading a little out of the book. And as I was reading this week and said we were going to do chapter 8, as I read chapter 8, I realized it's guidance for therapists and facilitators of healing, many of which you all are, we all are. But really, there were no practices in chapter 8 for us to work with. It's great information. So if you're reading along in the book, yeah, it's a good chapter from that angle. But we're going to go ahead and go into chapter 9 tonight, which is ancestral healing. So we've touched on this a little bit up to now, but this chapter really goes into our connection with our ancestors and how their experiences have passed along to us, some of which we're aware of or well aware of, and others of which are very subconscious to us and just native to us without us knowing it. So let's begin on page 160. And again, I'm going to read through some portions of the chapter, and then we'll get right into our practice. So on ancestral healing, Thomas says, whether we feel bonded to our forebears or woefully detached, the ancestors live on inside us, in our bodies, brains, habits, preferences, reactions, and other patterns of feeling, thought, and behavior. In fact, our biological nervous system is rooted in and wired from the greater collective nervous system, which is not bound to linear time or to any given place. Our ancestors did not and do not exist somewhere else, separated from us by continent or calendar. They are not behind us, but within us. Each of us belongs to a great lineage of beings that stretches forever back into the recesses of unrecorded time and forever forward into the future. No one stands alone in the great scheme or the great web. So how does your connection to your parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents feel? Can you sense a ready connection? Or is there a quality of distance or absence? There are no wrong answers. Whatever you discover as you undertake such an exercise is precisely the information that you then need to work with. Just as your parents and their parents passed down to you many physical and likely behavioral traits, You also inherited their unresolved struggles. Like unpaid taxes, any portion of your ancestors' past that was left undigested is conveyed to their descendants. Your forebears' unmetabolized energies live within you today. And frequently, the repetitions or re-traumatizations you experience in your lifetime are as much theirs as your own. Okay, moving forward to page 171. Whatever we choose not to hold in awareness runs us and thereby becomes our destiny. No matter how much we suppress and avoid and deny, the shadows are unavoidable. When we carry unacknowledged familial or historical traumas, our ancestors are not in peace. As a result, our living nervous systems, and therefore our minds and bodies, cannot maintain a healthy state of flow. The stream of energy and information that gets channeled through the human system is blocked, diminished, and distorted. Though it may be true that we cannot change history, by creating ancestral intimacy, we can change its effects on the present. On page 172, opening the door to relation with the ancestors can be challenging. It is difficult to own what they could not. But by courageously opening ourselves to the truth of their lives, with the intention to integrate even our most difficult histories, we and all our relations throughout time begin to awaken together into a more illuminated world. This simple act of presence makes way for new choices, new possibilities, new futures, and new light for ourselves, our children, and their children. Page 175. The beauty of multi-generational healing work is in the profound discovery that ancestors are, in fact, our greatest resource. Their strengths, skills, talents, resourcefulness, ingenuity, resilience, and wisdom are available to us in the present. By attending to the injuries within our ancestral lines, we make new space for the gifts of ancestry to be revealed and awakened. And we can harvest those gifts and resources to engage deeper ancestral healing. In the process, we come to feel more deeply supported and more powerfully connected in ways that transcend time or place. Healing is only the beginning, you see. The true reward of ancestral restoration or any other collective trauma integration process is the power it has to shift our awareness from me to we, from individual focus to collective awakening. And finally, on page 176, ancestral healing innervates the collective nervous system and restores light throughout the whole. This light is required to generate new and necessary structures of consciousness, including those that will allow humanity to remember and repair our sacred connection to the earth and all other life forms. It is incumbent upon us to transform collective suffering into unification, integration, and love. In fact, I believe it is a vital part of our purpose. So in our practice tonight, we're going to begin by tuning into our own nervous system, setting up our meditation space, feeling into our posture points, into our bodies, And before we begin, I want you just to float into your subconscious the idea of some issue that you would like to work with. So something that you currently work with in your life. And we're going to tune into that issue within you, within your consciousness. And then we're going to call to mind one ancestor who perhaps experienced something of the same issue. And as you call that person to mind, we're just going to sit with that person. And Stephen is going to guide us in terms of working with our ancestral pattern that we're working with now, that ancestor worked with previously. And we'll see what insight, what new information, what healing can occur. Okay. So this subject is very dear to me because my dad's life work is intergenerational healing. He's a family therapist, and his focus has been on healing patterns across generations. And he's just putting out a book called Healing 7 Generations. And one of the great spiritual traditions in the world is our Native American spiritual tradition, and they have the idea that everything we do should be done with the idea of benefiting the next 7 generations. And so they see the generation now is affected very strongly by 7 generations before and strongly affecting 7 generations after. So just have that in mind. Let that kind of move within you and see what happens in this meditation. All right. So let's take a comfortable meditation seat. And if you're in a good space to do so, have your feet firmly on the ground. That helps with grounding, with being present. And let's cup our hands in our laps with the tips of our thumbs touching lightly. And that embodies an open, receptive posture. So just rest your hands cupped in your lap. And let's lightly close our eyes. And just take a moment to settle in your seat. And notice anything you're carrying with you into this meditation today. So you may bring emotions from your day. That may have been something you're thinking about or some issue you've been working with. Just allow all of that to be here now. Just being present with whatever arises inside as you sit here now. And allow it to be okay, just as it is. Just being aware of whatever is present. Now feel out into the space around you and consider your space a sacred space, a safe space, a space that embraces you. And notice how you feel as you sit in this safe space. Maybe your body relaxes just a little bit more. And you're sitting too with all of us here now, in this shared space where we all support each other, where we allow each other to be just as we are. And now consider your intention for your practice, for our practice. Why is this important to you? And especially in this practice today, consider that this practice is not only for you, that the effect of our practice extends to all of us here and to all of our loved ones, to all who came before us, who enabled us to be here now. So extend gratitude to all who came before you and brought you here now. And if there's any stickiness in that, that's okay. Just welcome whatever arises and allow it to be okay. And consider dedicating your practice to the well-being of all our ancestors. And even more widely and invisibly, to all beings, our whole planet, and throughout our collective consciousness, and all that is. You are an important part of the whole. So consider dedicating your practice to the well-being of all beings, that we all might come to a deeper sense of connection and wholeness through our practice. And now let's focus down into feeling the sensations of contact of the soles of our feet on the ground. Soften and relax your feet and your toes. As if they're melting deep down into the earth. Feel the grounded presence and solid support of the earth. Feel your connection to all of life through the earth. And allow that feeling of grounded presence to flow up through your feet, up through your shins and calves, up through your knees and thighs, into your hips and pelvic bowl, resting down in your seat. And feel the weight of your body resting down in your pelvic bowl, resting down in your seat, resting down on the earth. Focus into your palms and fingers resting cupped in your lap. Awaken sensory awareness here in your hands. Allow your hands to soften and relax as if they're melting down into your legs. Feel the soft openness in your hands and your torso. Let your shoulders relax down. Release any tension in your neck and your head. Imagine and feel as if a string is attached to the top of your head, drawing your spine gently upright, like a string of luminous pearls. Feel your spine gently stretched from your perineum and tailbone right up through the top of your head. Feel the tingling aliveness at the top of your head, open to the sky above as you sit more upright, more awake, more empowered. Now tuck your chin just slightly to gently lengthen the back of your neck. Lightly close your lips and breathe in and out through your nose. Rest your tongue upon the roof of your mouth, with the tip of your tongue touching the gum line behind your upper front teeth. Soften and relax your tongue here. Softening your tongue sends a relaxation signal through your vagus nerve network, from your brainstem down through your heart, your abdomen, and out through your whole body. As you feel this relaxation, smile, a subtle smile of calm happiness, of appreciation and gratitude for this life brought forth by all our ancestors. Allow this feeling of appreciation, this smile of gratitude, to soften and relax your eyes. Release any tension from your eyebrows and your forehead. Allow this gentle feeling of smiling to wash down from the top of your head, down through your whole body, creating a relaxed, positive, nurturing inner environment in which every cell is present, awake, communicating with every other cell, sharing information, working as a whole. Feel into this deep intelligence of your body, this deep intelligence passed along to you by all the previous generations. Feel into this inner space and call to mind one issue that you're currently working with in your life. It can be anything at all, big or small, whatever you feel ready to work with in this meditation. And as you call that issue to mind, let's choose one issue to work with. You might notice where that issue resides most prominently in your body. Notice what that issue feels like in your own nervous system. So notice any tightness, any restriction of energy. Maybe there's heat or cold. Maybe there's pain or numbness. Just notice how this issue affects your own nervous system. Notice if it resides in any specific area of your body. Notice if it affects your breathing. Notice the prominent emotion associated with this issue. There may be more than one. Notice your story about this issue, the thoughts and beliefs you tell yourself about this issue. Allow it to all be just as it is. It's being present with it. Feel the energy of this issue in your body. And now call to mind one ancestor who might share this issue with you. And Stephen will guide us from here.
And as you call to mind that ancestor, set a clear intention to connect in all ways to that specific ancestor. Just as Kevin was guiding you into the 7 generations, this could connect to a whole multiplicity of ancestors through this one specific ancestor. In my case, I'm connecting to Iri Hapatitaki, my great-grandmother, who was a Maori princess So I have a deep, long heritage connected with her and all her ancestors and all their diets and all their tribal systems and all their iwis and cultural interactions. So who do you connect to? And as you do, it might be just a name. You might not know much about this ancestor. Know that your body's nervous system is totally capable of tuning in to all the information that's necessary for you to receive. You might know very little about them. Here you're tuning into a feeling. And that feeling will convey limitless amounts of information in all kinds of ways about that ancestor or about that wisdom and how it lives on in your family as you tune into that ancestor. So I'm tuning in and feeling the way that this particular ancestor's wisdom arises in my sisters or in my father. So just feel into the way that this wisdom of this ancestor lives in your family. Just notice. So you might be aware of certain relatives, members of your family that pop up. So there's a particular member of our family that runs the Maori estate. So that person is popping up in my memory. Just notice what comes up spontaneously. And then tune into information about the story. There could be a whole story associated with your ancestor and those 7 generations of ancestors that lie before. My ancestors came on the great Maori canoes from Hawaii, so I have an ancient lineage back to Maui in Hawaii and to the name Taki. So there might be different names, connections, openings in different lands. Your ancestry may take you to other lands and other connections and other stories. Simply listen. Make space to receive all of this information, however it arises, all these feelings, whether it's stories you've heard, whether it's stories that might be coming to you now quite spontaneously, whether it's wisdom that lives in your own family or your relatives, or whether it's specific information or feelings that you have about your ancestor. Just simply listen, make space to receive, and loosely hold your intention with the softest and gentlest of concentration. Notice whatever sensations, emotions, images, atmosphere, whatever tastes, smells, sounds, whatever memories show up. Now stay with your impression by tuning into it even more deeply. Often this impression will deepen very simply and reveal more of itself to you. It's important to just stay with the feeling of this unfolding information, the feeling that it wants to guide you, the wisdom of this information just as it unfolds for you, without trying to interpret or understand it. Simply foster an intuitive stream of information, feeling, emotions, and awareness. For example, I'm receiving streams of information from ancient myths and the mystical roots of my own Maori and Hawaiian traditions. Just notice what arises for you. How does that stream of information and energy and awareness present itself to you? Remember not to fixate on any interpretation. Instead, just simply be present and notice what is. As you're feeling into this information, energy, these streams of intuitive feelings, this awareness, simply feel and sense what information is needed. Thinking about it does not move or shift it. Feeling and sensing it is exactly what is needed. Just notice what arises. It might arise in all forms. For example, as I tune into Maui and all the ancient traditions, maps and guidance, images, visions arise. Just notice what ways this information and stream of intuitive awareness arises for you. Feel it, sense it. This deep healing of any intergenerational trauma that may have occurred happens when you bring presence, when you bring deep relationality to this energy, when you bring any merging, fusing to these fragmented energies of trauma that might have existed in your ancestral lines. Now you're healing any splits. Feel into that intergenerational trauma. When I feel into all the land splits that happened with the Maoris and the Hawaiians, I can feel those energies like woven threads in the tapestry of life, and you can integrate them back into your river of life. Remembering as you feel and sense into any trauma information or any information that needs to be healed, the moment you bring awareness to it, because it's heightened in your consciousness, it automatically starts to heal and weave. Light is brought to that healing. The threads of all the generations are woven and made whole simply by your awareness, simply by feeling and sensing exactly what is needed, and allowing those energies to reintegrate back into the river of life. So here you're not imagining your ancestors. You are sensing information brought forward by them. You might have prior knowledge, you might even have an imagined idea of what that ancestor was like or how they lived. But what you really need is found by intentional attunement. Simply keep noticing what arises in your body, in your mind, or in your emotions as you think about and tune in with your ancestors. That is your relational attunement. That is your relationship with them. So if you're tuning into your great grandmother, what do you notice in your body? What's happening right now in your body? As you bring her to mind and heart again and again, or bring another ancestor, what is happening in your emotions? What inner images or thoughts arise? Those are your relational attunement to that ancestor. And as you continue to tune into the first feelings that spontaneously arise, the first sensations or images, you are then given access to other, more deeply stored information. As an example, a map suddenly arose as I was guiding this that I've never seen before, but I know exactly where it is. Just notice. You will be given access to this deeply stored information if you remain patient, persistent, and present. And if the only feeling you have or can perceive is an absence or an unknowing or a numbness, then that's precisely the information you need to work with. That is exactly what is present. Now, slowly, with deep gratitude to this ancestor and to all generations, the 7 generations before and the 7 generations afterwards, dedicate this practice to the generations that are to come, that by your deep felt relational attunement to your ancestors and their ancestral energies, that you can assist the 7 generations that are to come. And as you dedicate this practice, connect also into our healing, the healing here of all those that are gathered on this call and their generations, their 7 generations before and their 7 generations after. Dedicate this practice, this relational attunement, because we are all feeling it in this precise moment, this incredible connection to the wealth of wisdom and stories that all our ancestors here combined bring. What an incredibly rich treasury of wisdom and story we have collectively. From me, from Garth, from Kevin, from Becca and Byron, from Bill, from Carol, from Christine and Cindy, from Connie, from Atta, from Helen, from Jared, from Liz, from Michelle, from Monica, from Susan, from Wendy and all your families. So we dedicate this practice to all of them. And as you slowly open your eyes and remain present to the fact that you carry the living wisdom, the living treasury of stories of your ancestors. You carry that wisdom from many, many ages and many generations, and it lives on in you. And that heritage will only ever pass to the next seven generations if you attune to it and share that wisdom and pass on that story. Right, this moment you are building and sharing that story of your ancestors, even in this very present moment. So as you go about your day, remember to share the wisdom of your ancestors and those 7 generations before that you carry in every body cell, in every bone, in every fiber, in every muscle, and in every breath. And thank you truly for your divine and pristine presence, and for the incredible collective power of our ancestors that are all right here now. I can feel my great-great-grandmother right here on my right shoulder. And she says, well done. So Kevin, I'll pass back to you with that beautiful sense of our ancestral wisdom and stories being present for all of us, for anybody that might like to share.
Thank you, Stephen, for that beautiful guidance. Thank you all for engaging in the practice. And if anyone would like to share, either verbally out loud or in the chat, we welcome that. Monica. There you go.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Kevin, Stephen, and nice to see everybody. I focused today on an issue of it's good to feel good. It's a positive thing to feel good, and it kind of was in my heart, 4th chakra and 2nd chakra, and then I saw my dad. My dad's passed, but I saw my dad, and he had that belief. And then I saw my grandpa. Well, I've never met him, but um, his dad had that belief. And I don't know exactly where it came from for them, but I had this sense that my dad had to do things that weren't honest to get what he wanted because he felt bad for feeling good. And then it was he in this image just apologized for some of the things he did. And he said, I had no idea how it would affect you. And then I forgave him, of course. It's been a long time. I've worked on this for over 30 years, but to see him say that in this place he's in, like, I had no comprehension of what I was doing or how that would affect you. And then it was that's what I noticed. And it was healing, and I just told him I wish him happiness, and it's okay. It's not okay, but I forgive you and I love you. And then I saw his dad, and then that's just what showed up for me today. So it's really yeah, it was interesting just because I thought that feeling came from later in life. And it's something I have to do. It's okay. It's good to feel good. It's good to have fun and feel good, and not to feel guilty or be hard on yourself, or. But it was really fascinating I think it was just really healing to see that and hear him completely, utterly. I had no idea what I was doing or how it would affect you. It was really interesting because I could feel his honesty there.
Mm. Mm.
It was powerful. So I
Mm.
thank you both so much. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Monica, for sharing that. It's powerful how those beliefs pass along. Yeah, thank you.
And Monica, just on that, I was just going to say that when you said that, I got lots of chills on my body when you said that about your dad saying that. And when you think about timelines, we have a particular timeline through our perception that has presumed something. And therefore, there's a particular energy that's running all the way from the past, through into now. Now, the moment you open up a little tiny space for that past to be different, you're suddenly on a different timeline. You are now in your future in that sense. And you are potentially in a completely different dimension than you were a moment ago, just simply by releasing and opening the tiniest bit of space for that truth from your father to heal. And I was feeling into that. So I got an enormous chill when you shared that, and which is usually my sign that a different portal has opened and a different space, dimensional space, has been freed and a new healing is upon us. And I'm well aware that this, in a matter of 24, 36 hours, Pluto enters Aquarius and will release a lot of energy and tensions on our planet, including creating lots of them with lots of countries firing missiles at each other. And for us, it presents an extraordinary opportunity for deep transformational healing on this level that Kevin has been speaking about, the many generations before and after. So I really felt that when you shared that. Thank you. That was really magical.
Oh, thank you so much. It makes so much sense, Stephen. And because when he was talking, it was like it's like we were together. Like, yeah, it was like I was all grown up and he was like, oh, what was I thinking? But thank you so much. That was great, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Stephen. Michelle says, I get a chill when something rings true or a pure note is sung, etc. Yes. Yes, thank you. Byron?
The issue I kind of started out with of wanting to work on was kind of like feeling, I guess, misunderstood or judged and misunderstood. And that kind of led into kind of a fear of conflict. And I started, when I tuned into my grandfather, I really kind of went past him, even into the next, and I'm Norwegian origins. So I went back to, on the farm or to a small village, Norwegian village, and how that conflict like that actually felt like a threat of death. You had to, there needed to be, you needed to get along with everyone. You could, it wasn't really accepted, or it could mean you were ostracized. And that kind of feeling of sort of, that's what I went into, is that kind of feeling of like an imminent death or abandonment, kind of, in a way. And it eventually did just kind of settle out and started feeling, it kind of went in a lot of different ways that I can't even remember, because we were talking about these kind of stories were coming up. But it was, I'm really kind of amazed now at how that train of kind of, because that fear of kind of conflict I got has been an issue for me, and to have that come from so far back, even how they ended up losing their land and then coming to the United States, and that it was a very real thing, and now here it is, living, still real and living in me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Byron, for sharing that. Thank you. Connie.
Hello. So when we started this exercise, I thought it might not work very well for me because I don't know a lot about my ancestry. You know, I know my grandparents and my parents, but beyond that, I just don't have much information. And so I was working with this issue around fear. What it comes down to is fear of separation or a fear of being alone. And sort of, you know, what it really comes down to existentially is fear of death and separation and being alone, which is very clearly from my dad. And I was thinking about my dad, and you know, I can sense his fear whenever I talk to him. I mean, it's very almost palpable to me, and something I've been interested in reading about in this book is how to you know, be with someone and feel, you know, through the transparent communication, feel what they're feeling without letting it inhabit you, you know, so much. But and then I got, you know, this image of my grandfather, and he was not like that at all. I mean, my mother's father, he was very, just very calming, a very calming person, very peaceful person. But then beyond grandpa, all of a sudden I got like just this sense like we're all here. Like you can't be alone because we're all here. All these like ancestors I don't know or don't even know about, I sense like they're all here. So this fear is unfounded, really. And I thought that was really interesting that I just got this kind of universal sense that here's the family, you know. And so anyway, it was more more real for me than I expected it to be. So I appreciate that. So thank you very much, and great to do these practices with you as always.
Thank you, Connie. That was beautiful. A great message for all of us. How we can't possibly be alone, that we're always surrounded.
And Kevin and Byron and Connie, I love the way that both Byron and Connie have alerted us to the fact that these recognitions can come from so deep or so far or so deeply rooted, and that sometimes I thought, Connie, what you said too was you thought, you know, well, it's not going to have an effect on me because I don't really know what, but then you actually allow, like Byron did and like you did and like Monica did, you allow the wisdom just to arise and percolate for a while. And when you do, when you give space to it, it opens up these almost unfathomable recognitions of the wisdom that's present in this body technology. I love it. I love the way this opens up that richness. Yeah, thank you everybody for sharing what you have.
Yes, Cindy.
I was similar. I don't have a lot of history with my lineage on my paternal side, but I've been trying to work with my grandmother because I do know that she committed suicide. And so I thought, oh, I'll talk with her because I'm dealing with not lack of self-esteem, but low confidence, not esteem, but confidence. And so I just kind of sort of tuned in a little bit to that side. And what I knew about it, I just kind of let go. And then it just took me from being here into being in Germany and then being in the backwoods and being around a fire and a gypsy caravan. And I thought, wow, this is really odd, because I had no idea about any of this. And we're dancing around this fire. And I had known that there was, my family had, in this country, had escaped in 1921 from Germany under persecution. And my great grandfather knew that, you know, we had some Jewish heritage in our blood, and that we were just, you know, we didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. So we were, you know, destined for death. And so the family that was left there, almost, you know, I knew that there were some people that stayed and had died. And so anyway, so we're around this fire and we're kind of dancing, and I'm in the group of people who are there. And I thought, now this is really odd. And at an instant there, I got this stabbing pain in my knee. And I sneezed here in real time. And then the vision started to have all this chaos, and everyone started running. And I'm thinking, wow, it's got to be that, you know, the Nazis are coming or whatever to chase us, because I'm knowledgeable, at least, that, you know, the gypsies were people who were being persecuted as well. But the odd part was that my dog, who is an elder, he's like 11, never gets up for anything. And he jumps up and runs over to me and starts whining. And he puts his head on my lap and puts his paw on my leg and just and just starts, you know, like whining at me, and just kind of like, what's going on? What's going on? It was just very eye-opening and very real. So I just kind of thought, well, this is it gives me chills, and it's not something that usually happens to me. I don't hear, I don't see. And it was just like total feeling. And there I was hiding in the woods, down in the dirt. And I'm thinking, well, that could be one of the reasons that I have issues with being seen in this lifetime, because I've had to hide in the past. And that's just what you had been, you know, talking directly to, is that generational, you know, things that come from the past, and we don't really know where it comes from, but here it is. So that was my insight for tonight.
Oh, that's a fascinating story. Yeah. We see you.
We do. I got lots of chills when you're telling that. That was a beautiful, beautiful insight.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have any of that family in this country left whatsoever. And no one, I mean, I'd probably have to go to Germany and do, like, you know, going through the streets and try and find my heritage. But I mean, that was good enough for me at this point. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, powerful. Let's see. Let me read here from Liz. I have an issue with money, accepting it right now. I need money, and I have people trying to give me money, but whatever. My dad, he was born in 1918 and orphaned at 2 years old. He had an unbelievably hard early life. He did very well as a young adult, several interventions and his own company, but he was very driven, and he was hard on his kids, mainly because he wanted them to not have to work so hard. But being from when it was already a pretty impersonal way toward children on average. So most of his kids are very successful, but the price of sacrificing a loving relationship with their father was real and deep to them. I was the youngest of 10. Oh, wow, and I totally rebelled. So here you are, and thanks for being here, Liz. We love you. Wendy says, what a wonderful process. Great to hear everyone's experience. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. And Carol, I've done an extensive family history back to the old countries. You can go back with the help of the Latter-day Saints. They also read German. Yeah, it seems that we have many with German heritage here. Yeah, thank you, Carol. I'm making note of our time. I want to just thank everyone here for your sincere participation, for being present here, for just providing this safe, supportive space for us all to be together and go through these deep processes. And so thank you all. Lots of love to you all. Next week, we will finish with the book Attuned. And we will be in chapter 10, which is healing for the collective. And so if you're reading along, read through chapter 10 for next week. And love and blessings to all of you. Thank you again so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you again. Same time, same place, same link next week. Lots of love. Bye for now.